I think inclusivity in terms of what I do is really about providing I think mainly a curriculum that's inclusive and an environment for the students that is inclusive. I think that's kind of the short answer to that, and I think that's really about trying to kind of meet the students, or meet them, or kind of create a space that they feel is kind of inclusive, where they all feel they kind of belong. So it's kind of creating belonging for them in terms of, and I think a lot of that is done through the curriculum in my kind of personal practice. So it's about presenting and providing them with curriculum that allows that kind of inclusivity, where everyone is kind of represented within the curriculum. It's an embedded delivery within the delivery, so it's nothing that kind of stands out as a kind of race equality lecture or anything. It's a lecture about representation, and I run that in well, now historically it's been within the photography term, and it's a session where I try to get the students to engage with the notion of whiteness and deconstruct the dominant position of whiteness, and through that we kind of start to unpack kind of race equality and issues like that. So I think that it's very much part of the inclusivity in the delivery. But that's one of the ways that I try to kind of bring that in to my teaching. So we run that particular session on that, and then they do a workshop on that to kind of follow up on. I first heard about Shades Noir when I was doing the PG Cert, the Inclusivity and Diversity unit. And since then I've been using Shades Noir mainly to, for myself to find references, but also to kind of point students towards when they kind of look in, when I can tell that, something that they would kind of benefit specifically. But it's also something that I kind of present generally to them, kind of when I give them in the kind of reading list and so on. But it's also something that I kind of push the students towards if they work with something specifically where I know they would benefit from references from the Shades Noir site. I think possibly, as kind of Shades Noir is growing as well, is to kind of point to, I know there are events that run through Shades Noir, and I think that's something that I could use as well to work, or push my students towards as well, and kind of inform them about. But I think as well, it's also something that can be extremely useful, possibly within the delivery. So within kind of workshops or something, that you actually very purposefully get the students to actually engage with the site, so that they actually know it's there. And thinking about it might be something I would consider doing within maybe some of these sessions that I run already, to actually get them to actually go out and find certain things or explore this site, because I think as well it's about the students they learn best by kind of doing, and it's about actually engaging. So I think sometimes we have to kind of prompt them to do these things in order for them to kind of understand the benefit of that forum or of that place, for them to be able to kind of come back and revisit it, maybe for their own kind of practice in the future as well. Well, I think kind of continue to do some, definitely some of the things that they're doing. I think as well it would be great if they can expand some of the talks that they're doing. And I think as well to kind of maybe work more as well towards maybe not just the BMA students, or BME students, sorry, and not just work towards the BME students, but work towards the kind of whole student body, possibly, because I think, and that's one of the things that I really work with, is to really try to get the whole student body to start to examine these things, because it's not, I think that racial equality is not necessarily an issue for just people that come from a BMA background. It's an issue that kind of involves all of us, and it's really important that we all start to engage with that and kind of participate, learn what is kind of our role in that, and what we can kind of do to participate in that. So I think it's really, really important that students that are not from a BME background also engage with this and start to kind of engage with maybe representation, all these things, and actually start to examine it, because it's not just for BME students to kind of knock on the door and kind of ask for a place to come in. It's all being kind of open up, and for everybody to examine the way that things has been represented, maybe the way things have been done previously, and kind of try to re-examine ourselves and try to push it forward that way.